Are you being too nice? Way back around 2010, 2011, there was a very viral third-party app going on LinkedIn, and I think it was called Duel, where people would rate their connections, as in who would you rather be working with. And at the time, I remember being very proud because I was like number 1 or number 2 software engineer in all of Israel and in the top 10 worldwide when it came to who you'd rather be working with. And I was very proud of that. I was very happy to see that. But I realized over the years that those sort of things have made me skew in the wrong direction, because I started evaluating how much people liked me and how much I was pleasing people more than I should have. And I was giving it more weight than the weight of actually doing the work. I felt it was more important to make sure that everyone were happy and that no one is angry with me, as opposed to doing what I did great, sticking my finger exactly where it hurt if I thought that's what we needed to stop the bleeding, if I thought we needed to be made aware of an issue to solve it. Not just making people feel like, yeah, that's a good idea, but no, let's talk about why I'm not on board, or at least I will tell you that I'm not seeing things eye to eye, so we can have a discussion. Maybe you can convince me, maybe not, but at least let's do it like that. Not from the point of view that where I felt like I had to make people happy. This video is about the fallacy that many leaders I see have, where we tend to focus too much on the need to make others happy, make others like us. Be it as a CEO, be it your employees. When we prioritize being liked over other things, we might end up doing the wrong things for maybe the right reasons, but that doesn't help you. Let's talk about how you can fix your thinking to become a much more effective leader, and not someone that no one likes, but at least learn how to keep your priorities straight. By the way, if you're new here, hi, I'm Aviv Ben-Yosef. I'm a tech executive, coach, and consultant. I help people create teams worth leading, because life's too short to lead a mediocre team. And when we're focusing on making people feel nice, as opposed to helping them get the right results done, we end up usually with those mediocre teams that might feel nice over the short term, but if you look at it in the long term, you'll end up with a team that doesn't realize what it has to realize, usually creating businesses that are only so-so, or even worse, ending up with a bunch of layoffs that I'm sure you don't want to be in charge of. Let's talk about the false virtue of niceness. A lot of the leaders I work with have this issue because I don't know why, but we tend to want to be liked. Maybe that's the human condition. But when I talk to a lot of CEOs and a lot of co-founders, they complain about feeling that the CTO or the VP of engineering tend to over-prioritize making people feel good and thinking too much about perks and about helping people with their day-to-day when it comes to not feeling overly stressed, helping them with their growth, etc. All of which are things I am not making little of. But if you put that in front of actually getting results done, actually doing your work, then you're getting everything confused. You've got it all around. Because what you actually have to start with is realizing that it's not useful if you're going to be nice till, it's too late. You're just going to be nodding along or making people feel cozy when you're all slowly getting boiled, when you're all slowly getting nowhere. What you have to do is realize that your job is to put your mouth to use. You have to tell people when they're doing things wrong. You have to help them see where they can grow. And you have to ensure that you, as a leader, speak up. Again, it can be to the CEO or the stakeholders, or it can be with your team, but ensuring that you're not just aiming to be nice and be liked, but you're aiming to get results. What might feel or sound harsh or cold is actually the basics of any healthy long-term work relationship. We're not in here for the laughs. We're not in here because it's fun. First of all, it is work. Even if you love what you do, even if you're working in a nonprofit, you have to think about the goal of the nonprofit and then work your way from there. If you're never having fun, if you're always suffering, change jobs. But the priority is not on making sure that everyone likes you, everyone is always happy, because again, that's not going to get you anywhere useful. This conflict avoidance is something that I see happening all over the place. For example, I recently worked with a VP of engineering that was always rushing to do whatever the CEO came in with, whatever capricious request, as opposed to saying, hey, whoa, what's the rush? Why are we switching lane this fast? Is this really what we need to do? Explain it to me. Why do I have to throw everything that we've been working on and change directions? Another example is a VP of engineering I was working with that was doing essentially the same with stakeholders. Whenever product or the board came and asked for X with insane deadlines he knew were not feasible, instead of pushing back, instead of going into discussions about, okay, what do we cut? What's the scope? Can we skip this? Can we do it like that? It was just so eager to make them see that the team is going to work hard and we're with you, etc. That sort of mentality that he would just commit to it and get the team to grind and burn out, often not actually reaching those promised deadlines because they were insane, and still he kept repeating this mistake over and over until we got to the point where the CEO was saying, hey, stop, knock it up, just tell us no. That's fine. We don't need you to always nod along and say, yeah, sure, if it's not going to happen. I much would rather get you to tell me the truth straight on, as opposed to grinding everyone and still missing a deadline. We're not getting anything out of that, except for maybe seeing the goodwill. Okay, but you don't go to the bank with goodwill, right? And again, the same is happening with your team. If you're overly focused on ensuring that everyone feels good, you'll end up contorting your organization because you'll promote that person, you'll give those people the project that they're not supposed to do, you'll hire a person that doesn't make sense just because someone wants their friend there. I've seen all of these happen way too much, and again, all from good intentions. You want people to feel good, you want people to feel like you value them, so you give them that raise, you give them that title, you create all of those things, as opposed to telling them straight on when they're not doing the right thing, helping them see when they need to be changing their behavior, when what they're doing doesn't make sense to you, or what they want clashes with what the company actually needs. So, hey, sorry, but right now we're not going to be doing that. We're not going to be switching to that framework or to that language just because you really want to do that, because we have actual tangible goals that will give us much more value, will help the company, and those are the priority right now, not whatever sexy tech you want to play with. Not having the courage of confronting your people about this. This is not about being always argumentative, always deflecting people's wishes. This is about knowing where and when you need to stand your ground and ask for clarification, or stand your ground and push back on things that don't make sense. That's what you have to, flip the switch in your mind and realize that, yeah, they might not be happy. They might not immediately say, okay, whoop-de-doo, Aviv is not letting me do what I want. But that's the right thing to do. That's the only way to create a healthy organization long term. Why is this happening? A lot of the times it's because we confuse in our minds agreement with alignment. You can be aligned with people on what's important and not always agree on whatever they want to do. If the CEO is asking for something and you're aligned about what the company's goals are, it doesn't mean that you immediately say, sir, yes, sir, and get to coding. You can have slight disagreement and say, are you sure this is the right order? Can we talk about scope? Can we not break the sprint right now? Let's explain why this is needed. Ensure that you understand this is not, well, it might make the CEO not happy that specific instant, but again, long term, that's what's needed. Keep in mind that if all you're doing is always saying, yes, sure, whoop-de-doo, whatever you say, no one actually needs you, because I can replace you with an empty function that just says yes. If you're never giving me any feedback, why do I even need you? right? I'm sorry, but companies are egoistic that way. You don't actually need people who don't have any immediate effect on the company. So if you're just a tube that things go through, and whatever request you're getting, you're saying, yeah, sure, then we don't need you. Keep that in mind. Your role is exactly this. This is the value you provide by helping ensure that what we're doing is aligned with the world. We're not just saying yes, we're pushing back when needed. We're not just giving people what they think they need or think they want right now. We're making a conscious effort as professionals to understand what it means, what are the priorities, what are the trade-offs, so we can make the right decision. Yeah, again, no one likes it when you don't immediately say yeah, but that's the cost of life, right? I don't give my kids a candy whenever they ask because I know it might make them not happy right now, but that's the right thing to do. When you're always saying yes, be it to your employees or your stakeholders, you're essentially giving them that sugar rush time and time again at the cost of their long-term health, of the company's long-term health. You cannot do that and still think that you're a leader. To start changing your mindset, the first thing that you have to do is to ensure that you're not confusing what you need. What you want is not being liked. You want to ensure that you're respected as a professional in the company. If what you're doing gains that respect, then you are doing the right thing. And having that respect means that you can talk to your peers as a professional, making your case, ensuring that you understand what needs to be done. You're not always rolling over on your back and saying yes, but you can push back where needed, you can push on the right people when needed, and ensure that what you're doing makes sense. That's being a professional all about. And that will get you respected when you're not automatically saying yes, and also you're not automatically saying no. You are a person that actually considers things, helps the company decide on the right way of doing things, has understanding of the context, and therefore you are a useful member of the leadership team. You're not that empty function that we can replace, with ChatGPT. You're an actual functioning leader. That's the only way around it. Some practical things that you need to be doing right now. First of all, make that switch in your mind. You're not about just being liked. And if people don't automatically like you but respect you, you're doing great. Second, start thinking about how you're giving this pushback. I'm not saying you need to automatically become a douche, always saying, no, you're stupid. No, that's not what we want to do. Instead, you need to be working on how you provide this pushback, on how you're giving feedback in a way that's useful and not creating just argumentative discussions that don't help anyone. For example, when you disagree, do it with respect and professionality. Ask, I don't understand why this is the right thing. Can you explain? Have curiosity in hand so you do things together with them. You're not coming from any position of being better or knowing better. You are asking your peers to explain. When you have to tell your employees that something is not going to be working, you need to be clear. Give them the actual reasons. Don't try to sugarcoat it too much, as in if someone wants to be promoted and you're telling them they're not ready and you're thinking that they're not ready to be a manager, don't tell them things like, it's not the right time in the company, whatever. No, tell them the truth. Help them. Don't say, yeah, you, my friend, are never going to be leading anyone. Tell them, frankly, I think you need to be working on your soft skills, on your communication with people who are not technological, on how you manage your time and how much accountable you are before you can be in charge of other people. Let's work on that together over the course of the next few months. That coaching is actually what's going to be helping people, not you making them feel good because you're not telling them the real reason, but you're giving them other excuses. Ensure that when you're talking to your people, you're always having the company's interests in mind so you can relay that to people. Okay? You're not a robot. You're helping people understand what's important, what are we thinking, why we're evaluating this over that, why we think that this needs to be prioritized over that other option. When you're doing that, you're creating context. You're giving people understanding, which makes them much less hopeless. They understand what's actually happening, so they don't feel like they're, working by random. They don't even get any chance of understanding what's happening. They understand the context. They can ask you questions, exactly like I told you to deal with the CEO, for example. You want to recreate this in a way that allows helpful, cooperative discussions, and then we're not about people being happy or people not being happy. We're actually talking about how we do the right thing, give people the right pushback, and maybe over the long term, you're going to get even more liked. But right now, you're going to be doing the right thing, which is pushing back where needed. And our takeaway here is, don't aim to be liked, aim to be a leader. Even if you're not feeling very much love at the beginning, when you're doing that, you'll be doing the right thing. And with time, you'll see it, and everyone else around you will see it. Know why you're doing what you're doing, know why you're in this role, and move on from there. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this, do like and subscribe. If you have any questions, if you think I'm an idiot, that's fine. I'm not trying to be liked, but do let me know in the comments what you're thinking, because I'm interested. And I'll see you here in the next video.